The urgent cry that launches our narrative comes from Jennifer Rosenbaum, desperately seeking help for her 2-year-old foster child who is fighting for life. Jennifer's struggle throughout the adoption process highlights the deep flaws in the child welfare system, exposing vulnerable children to the harmful actions of sinister figures. We encourage you to delve into every aspect of this chilling and disgraceful incident that has shaken Georgia. Lila Marie Daniel was born on July 18, 2013, to Tessa Clendening and Anthony Daniel in Georgia. She also had an older sibling named Millie. Lila, known affectionately as Fat Baby by her grandmother Gina Banks, was a cheerful, chubby toddler with curly hair, bright azure eyes, rosy cheeks, and a contagious smile. She loved eating strawberry oatmeal, powdered donuts, and chicken pieces, and took great pleasure in pretending to cook in her toy kitchen. She was a fan of the children's show, and although her speech development lagged behind her peers, she always insisted she was a big girl. Lila's joyful nature and loving heart made her a beloved member of her family, especially cherished by her mother, grandmother, and great-aunt Kim Smith. Tessa's childhood was marked by hardship, having been removed from her parents and placed into foster care, where she encountered Jennifer Hall, a significant person in her life. Jennifer's upbringing was equally tough, often spending time in squalid conditions, moving between sidewalks, tents, and cars. At 9, Jennifer entered foster care and shared a room with Tessa in a group home. Although they knew each other, they never developed a deep connection. In October 2011, Tessa welcomed her daughter Millie, fathered by Jacob. A year later, she began a relationship with Anthony Daniel, who fathered her second child, Lila. Lila was born a few months after Tessa and Anthony made their relationship official. During Lila's first year, she and her older sister Millie lived with their mother, according to the Georgia Department of Family and Children Services. Their home was inspected at least 4 times between September 2013 and August 2014 due to concerns about potential abuse. After the final DFCS inspection in August 2014, Tessa changed her address and moved with her children to North Carolina, which resulted in the termination of the DFCS proceedings. Tessa clarified that her move was not an attempt to evade social services but was driven by her desire to start anew elsewhere. By July 2014, around the time of Lila's first birthday, Tessa faced challenges with substance abuse, as evidenced by medical records from a local clinic shortly after Lila's birthday celebration. Tessa was admitted to a healthcare facility due to signs of an overdose. Following this incident, her older daughter Millie was placed under the temporary care of her grandmother, Gina Banks, while her younger daughter, Lila, was cared for by a family friend, Cynthia Tate. Official documents with notarized temporary custody agreements confirmed these arrangements for the 2 young girls. Cynthia Tate observed that despite the chaos surrounding her mother's personal life, 1-year-old Lila seemed to be thriving, always showing a cheerful demeanor and appearing healthy and well cared for. Tessa often visited on special occasions and other days throughout the year. In 2015, Tessa was arrested for her involvement in a scheme to distribute illegal drugs, resulting in a 3-month prison sentence. At the same time, Lila's father, Anthony Daniel, was incarcerated for illegal possession of a deadly weapon, with both parents in jail. Tessa depended on close friends to look after her children. After her release, Tessa stayed with Cynthia Tate. But following a failed drug test, her children were removed from her custody and placed in state-sanctioned foster care. Millie and Lila were then placed with Loretta Brown, an experienced foster parent, while child welfare professionals continued to monitor the situation. During this time, Tessa worked hard to overcome her issues and regain custody of her children. When Lila and Millie joined Loretta's family, they settled in well. Lila quickly formed a bond with Loretta, and Millie playfully engaged with Loretta's child. At that time, Lila was 21 months old, and her sister was 4. They had previously lived in a series of temporary homes that were kind but deemed inadequate by social services due to emerging concerns. The authorities were focused on locating the ideal environment for the girls, even if it required moving them between homes. Throughout this period, Tessa, aware of her own struggles and unstable situation, was actively involved in the foster care process. Motivated by her love for her daughters, she chose not to give up her parental rights, hoping to regain custody after recovering. Jennifer Rosenbaum noticed the girls and wanted to integrate them into her life. As a charismatic individual with experience in both the military and legal fields, she contacted Tessa online, offering to care for the girls temporarily until Tessa was ready to take them back. Trusting Jennifer, Tessa consented, leading to a series of supervised visits. However, during these visits, signs of physical harm on Lila began to surface, which Loretta reported to the Department of Family and Children's Services, DFCS, raising concerns about the situation. The Rosenbaum household welcomed the girls under the care of Jennifer and Joseph, who, although not officially recognized as foster parents by any child welfare organizations, showed a keen interest in providing them with temporary shelter. At 27, Jennifer, who had connections with Tessa from their past, had a tumultuous upbringing similar to that of Lila's parents, marked by chaos and violent mistreatment. Her mother's struggles with addiction often resulted in Jennifer facing homelessness, propelling her into the child protective system by the age of 9. Over the years, various complaints and warnings surfaced about her, particularly concerning her limited ability to handle anger and conflicts, which became a recurring pattern in her behavior. During her time in a series of shelters, Jennifer encountered Tessa, setting the stage for their paths to cross more significantly later on. Despite her troubled past, Jennifer was determined to alter the course of her life. She completed high school and joined the Army, marking the beginning of a new chapter. Her passion for law led her to pursue legal studies at a university, where she earned a Bachelor of Laws degree. After graduation, she kickstarted her career by securing a position at a local law firm. Throughout her journey, Jennifer maintained a strong sense of self-assuredness and dedication to her new path, defending her clients with unwavering commitment. Her commitment to her community's welfare enhanced her stature as a respected figure, garnering a group of admirers and elevating her public profile. Consequently, she began to appear on television, which eventually led to a position in the district attorney's office. In 2009, she married Joseph Rosenbaum, whom she had met years earlier when both were in foster care during their teen years. At the time of their wedding, Joseph was working as a correctional officer. Their marriage was a balance of personalities. She was determined, commanding, and assertive, whereas he was more accommodating, calm, and passive. Joseph suffered from cystic fibrosis, a severe genetic lung condition that significantly reduces life expectancy and commonly causes infertility in men. This situation allowed Jennifer to present herself as a protective champion on social media, highlighting their joint struggle against the disease. Despite the challenges, Jennifer's determination to start a family remained unwavering. They faced a setback when their adoption application was denied. Jennifer had applied using her maiden name, and although her foster care background wasn't the main concern, her previous aggressive behavior was, leading authorities to deem her unsuitable for temporary motherhood. Undaunted, Jennifer sought alternative methods to achieve her goal, eventually submitting a second adoption application under her husband's surname, Rosenbaum. Jennifer began her journey by enrolling in foster care training, while simultaneously undergoing a rigorous investigation into her personal history. Nonetheless, Jennifer considered herself superior and felt that she was accountable to no one. She was convinced that she had made significant advancements in a brief period, attributing her tough childhood as the catalyst for her achievements. She firmly believed that any child would be lucky to have her as a foster parent, and therefore, she adamantly declined to undergo any scrutiny checks. Unfortunately, her refusal only served to exacerbate tensions. During a conversation with a representative from juvenile welfare, she lost her composure. With a raised voice, she cautioned him, claiming he failed to understand whom he was dealing with. As a result, her application was swiftly rejected. In the spring of 2015, while performing her regular judicial duties, Jennifer spotted a recognizable face. Tessa's grandmother, who had once given her temporary shelter during her formative years. This encounter led her to breach confidentiality norms surrounding juvenile cases. She disclosed the situation and investigated every detail. She discovered the circumstances of Lila and Millie, as well as Tessa's legal challenges and her efforts to secure housing for her children. Following this, Jennifer began to devise a detailed plan to ensure the girls' foster placement. Her first step was to reconnect with Tessa through social media, using their past relationship as leverage. Once reconnected, she offered to become a surrogate parent to Tessa's children, presenting it as an opportunity to provide them with a nurturing home. By appearing empathetic towards Tessa, Jennifer aimed to achieve her goal. Jennifer led a vibrant life and was planning to join the local government commission while in her third year of law school. Her career path and social standing seemed quite promising, boasting a well-regarded reputation, financial stability, and a blissful relationship. Every element of her life appeared to open doors to opportunities for Tessa's daughters. Convincing Tessa, filled with gratitude and happiness. Tessa believed Jennifer's disciplined approach was the ideal environment to nurture her children and provide the home she envisioned. Consequently, she promptly contacted the welfare officer handling their case to express her decision, seeking approval for her daughters to spend time with the Rosenbaum family. Thus, Lila and Millie began visiting their home during this period. Although Lila, aged 2, was still nonverbal and had difficulties eating, sometimes overeating and at other times completely refusing food, her older sister, 4-year-old Millie, consistently looked after her. Concurrently, during their visits to the Rosenbaum's home, Patricia Lambert, who took care of Tessa's daughters at their temporary residence, was exceptionally diligent and responsible. She kept a detailed written record of everything concerning the sisters. Patricia noticed that after their visits to the Rosenbaum home, the girls showed signs of physical injuries, including bruises and burns, which alarmed her. She filed a complaint with social services, but the response was tepid. Unwilling to give up, Patricia personally visited social services twice with the girls, hoping to have the noticeable bruises assessed to support her claims. She also provided photographs as further evidence. Despite her efforts, social services remained passive and failed to conduct a proper investigation. It was suggested that Jennifer utilized her professional connections to manipulate the situation to her advantage. She even told management that the girls' injuries came from time spent with their biological family members. A blatant lie. The only proof to counter Jennifer's statements was Patricia's careful records. But unfortunately, Patricia's diligent efforts were ignored, and the law appeared to favor Jennifer. On July 24, 2015, Jennifer and Joseph were awarded custody of Lila and Millie. Alarmingly, the presiding judge overlooked the usual requirements and protocols necessary for becoming foster caregivers. After bringing the girls home, Jennifer wrote a letter to Tessa, falsely claiming that social services required a 30-day no-visit period to help the girls adjust to their new environment. After this period, Jennifer continued to exert control, cutting off the girls' communication with their biological family. As this deception continued, it was revealed that Tessa was pregnant again. Jennifer aimed to also gain custody of this unborn child. Thus she carefully avoided any potential conflicts or new disputes. Tessa, naively believing Jennifer, requested photos of her children. Jennifer responded by sending old images of Millie from her extensive collection of nearly 2,000 photos. When Tessa specifically asked for a recent photo of Lila, Jennifer had no choice but to comply. In the photo she sent, infant Lila was shown with an injured eye, which Jennifer falsely claimed was due to an accident at a daycare center. This was another fabrication, as Lila was not attending any daycare and had no interactions with other children of her age. A social worker was eventually appointed to monitor the welfare of the sisters, tasked with conducting monthly checks to assess their physical and emotional health through direct interactions. Surprisingly, none of the social workers' reports flagged any concerns. However, by August 2015, a local resident who was also a registered nurse noticed bruises under both of Lila's eyes. Jennifer explained them as accidents from a fall down the stairs that injured her nose. But the nurse was doubtful and urged that Lila be taken to a pediatric hospital immediately due to serious health concerns. Despite the nurse's advice, no immediate action was taken. The concerned neighbor later revisited Jennifer's home, this time more forcefully insisting that Lila needed medical evaluation due to the potential severity of the head injury. Under pressure, Jennifer consented to seek medical attention the next day. More troubling incidents involving Lila emerged, such as an incident in October of the same year when she broke her leg. Although Jennifer explained that the injury occurred during a visit to her grandmother's house and while participating in gym activities, it was later discovered that Lila was not enrolled in any gym program. On the evening of November 17, 2015, a panicked Jennifer called 911, reporting that her foster daughter was choking on a piece of chicken. She attempted the Heimlich maneuver but feared she was not performing it correctly due to her inexperience. Jennifer was frantic and conveyed that while Lila could still breathe, The situation was critical. During the following 13 minutes, the 911 operator tried to guide her through CPR steps. But Jennifer was worried that her lack of experience might have exacerbated the situation. In her frantic effort to dislodge the obstruction from Lila's throat and restore her breathing, she tried to remove it using her fingers and even resorted to a butter knife. Unfortunately, these attempts were unsuccessful and Lila passed away a few minutes later. Shortly after the distress call, first responders reached the home. And although they found Lila unresponsive, they began revival procedures. However, these too proved ineffective. During their examination, they observed significant injuries, including bruises on her back. When questioned about Lila's medical history, Jennifer disclosed her ignorance due to Lila being adopted. The first responders then transported Lila's body to the nearest hospital. Noticing the extensive injuries on the girl, they alerted a social worker and immediately contacted the police. Simultaneously, Millie was quickly taken to a healthcare facility. During her examination, she displayed noticeable marks on her leg, head, arm, and back, which indicated potential maltreatment. A hospital staff member confirmed the presence of these marks on Millie, although they were not as severe as those on Lila. These findings prompted law enforcement to investigate the girl's living conditions further, resulting in Millie being returned to Patricia's care. The following day, November 18, 2015, a postmortem on Lila revealed multiple injuries, including significant bruises and fractures. The autopsy concluded that the cause of death was blunt force trauma to the abdomen rather than an accidental choking. Following these findings, Jennifer and Joseph were arrested, but they posted bail soon after and returned home. This action led to strong opposition from the girl's biological family and widespread public outcry. At the same time, the incident triggered a scandal within the Department of Children and Family Services. 2 employees responsible for Lila and Millie's case were terminated after an internal investigation revealed they had overlooked numerous critical warning signs that could have prevented the abuse. Despite lacking concrete evidence that they intentionally harmed the girls, the Rosenbaums' negligence in following protocols for sensitive cases enabled the ongoing mistreatment of the children to remain undetected until July 2019. At this point, legal action commenced against them, with the couple facing 49 charges, including murder, severe assault, and child cruelty. These charges stemmed from the tragic death of Lila Marie Daniel on November 17, 2017, and the injuries sustained by Millie Place while under their care. Nonetheless, they were both acquitted. The defense argued that Jennifer was merely trying to clear obstructed food from the girl's throat, which inadvertently caused injury. However, this defense was undermined by the poignant testimony from Millie, who naively recounted the physical punishments inflicted on her and her sister by the Rosenbaums, particularly Jennifer. In October 2019, the Rosenbaums were found guilty. Joseph Michael Rosenbaum's conviction was officially recorded on August 1, 2020. The court documents were then made available to legal officers for further dissemination. Jennifer received a life sentence plus an additional 40 years, whereas Joseph was sentenced to 50 years, with a stipulation of 30 years in prison followed by 20 years on probation. Jennifer contested the verdict, claiming her attorney did not provide adequate defense, and took her case to the state Supreme Court in March 2023. However, Her appeal was denied. The deaths and mistreatment of the children have sparked intense debates about the need for better regulation and oversight in foster care and child protection, highlighting how critical lapses in the system can have devastating consequences for vulnerable children. After watching the story above, do you have any thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and share our channel. That's all about today's stories. See you next time.